We ain't got nowhere else to go.
Oh, no, I forgot. He's a fucking mama's boy. Always has been, always will be.
Now, this mama boy conversation is something I'm definitely going to come back around to, and it's something that's going to probably make more sense as we progress through this video, because I do have a lot of information coming your way. So to start off this video, this is a quote from Woody McClain. Kane says he comes from broken love. It's a product of deep emotional pain, and it holds significant influence for Kane's character. Brett did an amazing job this season of making Kane human, to show more feelings. I think that was a great move on the writer's part to bring Effie into his life. It showed a different side. He's not just a badass, he actually cares. He's actually willing to pay tuition. He's actually willing to put on that suit and go to jail to try and fight for his love. I just really appreciate the writers for doing that this year. So those were some of the words from Woody McClain on his character's evolution throughout Go Season 3, where we really saw Kane flip the script and show he's more than just a character who shoots first and thinks later. The way he was able to take a step back and think about his moves before making them showed a lot of character growth. And earlier in the season I did say Mecha was that guy who helped him develop in a business sense. A cool little Easter egg was how Mecha taught him if you need to stop and prepare for a war, then you've already lost. And in Season 3, we saw Kane staying prepared. I think Mecha was that guy that was kind of there for Kane when his father wasn't, and he taught him a lot. I feel like if you give Kane that opportunity and surround him with the right people, I think it could really work. And I definitely do have to agree, if you surround Kane with the right network and right people around him, he'd definitely be a great addition to any organization. For example, if he and Tariq were able to get along, then they can literally be the perfect team with the addition of Brayden and Effie. You've got Brayden's privilege, Tariq's strategic smart moves, Kane's muscle, and along with Effie, they made a pretty solid team at the beginning of Season 3. Now the rest of this video is going to be a lot more than just about Kane's evolution. Normally after a season finishes, we get a host of fresh information in the form of interviews from the showrunner and the cast, some hints about what we can expect in Go Season 4. And one of the storylines that I do think could potentially be explored is Kane's backstory. So I will be laying the foundation with some further interview quotes in regards to Kane, and why it makes sense for some of the decisions he's made in the past, and some of the decisions that we saw him making in Go Season 3. And as always, we're going to run through some of the thoughts and theories around what it could also mean for his character going into Power Book 2 Ghost Season 4. Now, Woody was asked why did Kane basically stick with Monet after finding out about Monet's involvement in Lorenzo's death when we saw different reactions from Drew and Diana. So taking it back to my episode 9 breakdown, I did sum it up as Kane was in way too much pain and anger to talk. He stood in silence, and sometimes silence does speak louder than words, but it actually does go deeper than we first thought. So this is what Woody McClain had to say on his backstory, and I'm going to expand a little further in just a moment, but this is what he said. I think it just comes down to the fact that Kane is mama's boy, his backstory which we've never got a chance to really talk about during the show, but she was there for him, and this is the key which I'm going to highlight in yellow. She was there for him when something super significant happened in his life. It was just his mom, so he's always had an attachment to her. I wish they would have talked about it a bit more, but they never got across to it or had time for it. I think it's just the fact that him and his mom are just super tight. She was there for him at a time where he really needed her. I think that's where Kane is when it comes to his mother. Now the key takeaway from this is, there was something significant that happened in Kane's past, where Monet was really there for him, and so I just want to kind of take it back to a conversation from Season 1.
You know why I'm so hard on you and Drew? Because y'all are good. Both you. Good to me, good to Kane.
Now, many of you guys may remember, but this definitely raised questions among Power fans from Season 1, along with Lorenzo telling Kane never put hands on his wife again, and at the time, it did make people believe that Kane may not be Monet or Lorenzo's son, especially because of the way he was treated compared to Drew and Diana, but that was a theory that was shut down pretty much straight away by Courtney Kemp. But here's some more details which I do think could play a significant role in explaining this a bit further, along with his relationship with his mother, some of his actions, and also something we may see play a role in Season 4. Now this was a quote from Alex Lepre, who plays Effie, and she said, "Kane and Effie always made more sense, because they are so much more alike. They would do anything to protect the ones they love, but they're also out for survival." Now she was also cited as saying the hardness comes from a shared history of child molestation. Now let's just take this back for a moment, linking this back to the interview that Woody McClain gave, and the conversation that Monet had with Diana. Is this a part of Kane's backstory that we haven't heard about yet? There does seem like there's a deeper story when it comes to Kane, and why he's so close to Monet compared to Drew and Diana. We all know Kane's always been treated differently in the sense, Monet's always treated him as more of a street soldier than a son, but it actually makes sense as to why he's made some of the decisions he's made, and why he's such a mama's boy.
He's a fucking mama's boy, always has been, always will be.
At the beginning, he was always kind of trying to seek approval from Monet, gain recognition, and gain this respect by doing everything she wanted him to do. He really did have a close bond with Monet, and I do think Kane felt as if this was under threat when Tariq St. Patrick came into their lives, but more so because he felt Tariq fucked shit up for his family, which, let's be honest, is kind of true. Tariq even said it himself. whoever he gets close to ends up dead or gone, and the latest person to disappear in Ghost is Lauren. Think about it this way, Kane and Monet had this close bond and he was a muscle and go-to in the streets, but when Tariq came along, she switched her operation from the streets over to Stansfield, and that meant Tariq was in control. Now I'm going to come back to this backstory in just a moment, but this hatred towards Tariq is kind of justified, because Kane is definitely not wrong. Tariq had a huge hand to play in the St. Patrick's downfall. Kane also called Mecca out for being a narc. He also put 2 and 2 together when it came to Lorenzo killing Zeke, and he also called out Salim Arshay Fake Freeman. Although Kane's actions across seasons 1 and 2 definitely didn't help, and I do think he needs to take a hard look in the mirror himself. So we do have to bear in mind both perspectives, but Kane definitely did feel threatened by Tariq. He's smart, he's shrewd, he's business minded, he's a money man, and you can really see why Monet took a liking to Tariq. Now, at the start of season 3, Kane put aside his beef with Tariq, and he begins to show traits of being family first, and I do think this was largely thanks to Lorenzo protecting him from near death, and so this is what he had to say on the impact of Lorenzo's death. I do think it affected him a lot. I feel like Lorenzo was the glue to the family. He wanted the best for everybody, whether it was Diana going to school or being super supportive in Drew with his relationships. I think Lorenzo was the glue, and now that the glue is no longer there, you can physically see the family just falling apart. I think that's super important for us to have Lorenzo, and now that he's gone, I think everything is just gonna go left. Now this is something similar to what I said after Monet made the savage move to have Lorenzo killed by Gordo. Lorenzo was the man who was keeping this family together, despite what he did and despite his flaws.
Instincts are to always lead and protect. Everybody knows that, except you. I'm not gonna stand by and watch you hurt this family, Kane. It's not gonna happen.
Protect and lead. Everything he ever did was to try and keep them safe. Although one can also argue, if he wanted to keep his family safe, they should never have chosen this life in the first place. But again, he also cleared that up in season 2. He would never live off another man, and he did try and pursue another life, which was made clear in episode 5 with Diana. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out as planned, which is why he wanted Diana to leave the hustling behind and be the first to harder to graduate. But I definitely agree with Woody McLean's quotes. Since Lorenzo died, things have just been going south, and I really don't see a way back for this family, especially with the move that Drew and Diana put into motion. Let's not forget who their main target was, Monet. Their initial plan was to have Monet killed and then have Kane kill Tariq. But what do you guys think will happen in season 4 if Kane puts the pieces of the puzzle together that Drew and Diana set Monet up to be killed? I don't think he's going to be happy at all. And this is where we're going to bring it back to his backstory, him being Mama's boy. At the end of the day, I do think he's always going to go back to Monet, but who knows if they're going to explore that part of Kane's backstory in a bit more detail in season 4 and just give us that bit more depth. But it definitely does kind of make sense as to why he's made some of the decisions he's made by going back to Monet so soon after the kids turned on her for having Lorenzo killed. Is this going to be something that they explore in a bit more detail in season 4 in a conversation or two? Who knows, maybe they will, especially because Effie opened up to Tariq about her past about being sexually abused. So maybe it's a conversation we hear between Effie and Kane, because Kane says that love is definitely real for Effie. He said that's super genuine. I don't think he would have went that route he did, pressing everybody about Effie and them trying to set her up if it wasn't genuine. So with them potentially sharing a similar past in terms of them being abused, I do wonder if this is something they'll explore in a bit more detail and give Kane's character some real depth, and adding even more layers they've given him in season 3. So let's see what they explore, because if you think about it this way, we know Tariq's backstory throughout Power, all the way from when he was a young kid, but we've only been given droplets of information when it comes to the Tejadas, so they can definitely go deeper. But let me know what you make of some of these post-season quotes and what it means for Ghost season 4. I for one think it could lead to Kane and Effie bonding and becoming a lot more closer based on their shared past, especially now that she knows her relationship with Tariq is completely dead. But drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section on Woody McLean's post-season quotes, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.